Hey guys, welcome back. Couple of interesting episodes are lined up for you guys. Interesting in the sense, right now we have this login screen where every time you are having to log in, even on relaunch, you are forced to log in. So that is something you're going to change right now, where based on the token or the user details being stored within the application, we are going to directly launch the application and show the user the chat rooms instead of going through this login flow again and again. So that is one thing. Also, because we still have the logout feature still pending, we will cover that as well, because on logout we need to do a little bit of refactoring to optimize things where it needs to go back to the login page or at least go through that landing scenario again. So that needs an optimization still. So we will do that based on the RX Swift feature available. Right now whatever we have is not optimized, I feel. So that's something we will take care along with the logout feature. So first thing first, login, and then taking the user directly to the chat room every time he relaunches the app. And after that, we need to take up something called as a request interceptor or feature for Fire. So this is more to do with refreshing your token. Let's say right now I have kept the token refresh or invalidating a logged in token to around 5 minutes just for this testing sakes, so that you understand every time, let's say you make fire a request to maybe fetch a user profile or maybe even fetch the chat rooms, or even once we start integrating the chat room feature where if you start sending a message to somebody, you need to validate that token which is available with you. So using this interceptor, we can actually refresh before any request is going out from the app side. So that is something we will cover, which is very interesting. I have implemented using a JWT access token refresher feature where it is going to use the request interceptor feature available with Fire. So let's get started first with the login workflow changes, where you're going to take the user directly to the login to the chat rooms instead of the login every time, and then we'll implement the logout feature, and then we'll take up that the token refresh feature. So let's get started with these things right now. So right now this is what we have on a login. Every time it's going to go through this flow, so we need to modify that. If you're logged in, so it's already saying the user is not authorized. Okay, some username is wrong, I guess. Yeah, so we are now in the chat rooms page. So we need to implement this logout. First thing first, let's let's start with the workflow change itself. So maybe we will go to the window where the things are happening right now. So I guess it makes sense that before I make this workflow change, it's better that I implement the logout feature. So everything right now, whatever is happening is through these closures. If you remember in the earlier episodes, we had these closures for each and everything. Let's say on landing page, you trigger a closure, like these are the dependencies we have: on start closure, on login closure, on sign up closure. So every closure is what triggers a transition from one screen to the other, which is happening over here. So I need to modify this because this is not looking like something which I cannot actually control anymore. Like we are going to have this route to chat rooms also coming up along with logout. So it's better that I start modifying these things. So first thing first, let's implement the logout feature. So for that, let's go to the chat rooms interactor, not the chat rooms accounts interactor. We have this login sign up. I just want to include a logout feature as well. Nothing here over here. Maybe it's just going to say I have logged out, and all that we need is to define something on the services side, maybe, or even we don't need anything on the services side, because logout as such is nothing but clearing the tokens for me. That nothing more than that. So all that I can do is to call the clear tokens over here, user settings, dot clear tokens is all that I want, and we are expected to return something over here. So maybe let me also verify implementation wise so that we are consistent. Login, sign up, yeah. So interactor is what is going to handle this. Nothing like we just need to return, that's it. So I'm just going to create a single over here, return disposables dot create, and I just call this within the single and just say single dot single, call the success function, that's it. So this is my logout feature. So on logout you're just sending a single, and also you're clearing within the user settings. If you go, clearing is nothing but it's removing all the saved credentials. So that's enough for because we don't need to do anything over the server side. The server is always depending on the tokens which we have stored on the client side. So once that is cleared, your user is logged out. So once you have it, you can always include this within the profile section where we are calling the logout. We have the logout button over there. Go to the profile view controller, you have the logout button. There is no binding as such right now, so maybe we can include that binding in the presenter. So on input, I can just say on logout. Logout just triggers a driver, empty driver trigger. It's just a button click, so we can always include that. So it's going to trigger a change. Presenter on logout, I have the button, logout button. Just convert that into a driver. So that's enough to make that logout click happen. Go to the presenter. Within the output, not within the process, I can just say presenter. I can just say out input dot on logout. I can always map that to a use case call. So map, I don't need to accept anything. All that I need is the use cases right now. Use cases. So we are not defining anything for the use cases yet. So that's what we need to do right now. The logout, we need to call the function within the interactor which we define right now. So my use cases, input logout, I guess that's what I copied. Yeah, this one, logout, and an empty one. So it's going to ask me to include that dependency over here. I already have the account interactor. Logout dot logout, that should be enough. No more errors. I can go back and make that call from presenter again. So my logout type function is available. Now I can use this use cases to call the logout function. That's called. So this is not enough. We need to navigate. Once the logout has happened, we need to navigate back. So that's what the logic I need to add to the router. I can just ask a router to say you need to now log out. So what is the implementation for that? I have defined something called as route to root. So I need to define again it's going to be that closure thing again. So we need to define within the router a function to route to root. Route to root is nothing but the window itself. Function route to root, that's a simple function, and I implement that route to root. And now I need something to be added over here. So I can just say on logout as a closure, escaping closure. and then capture this private let on logout. Self dot on logouts equal to logout. This is what we'll pass through the builder right now. So builder, it's going to trigger a change there, and on logout we can just call here. So when we make the call from, let's say I have the presenter call right now ready. Once logout is completed, I can again map it over here. Okay, so logout is a single, so I need to flat map, because if this needs to get called, this has a this gives you an output, so I need to convert. It's a single output logout. So if you want to get that value back, so that output value is received on map, so we don't need that value because it's anyway a void value, but we will get to know that the logout call has completed over here. So that's what the idea here. So it's just transforming one observer to the other. This on logout tab is transformed, like it's making a call to the logout function, and this it's not a transformation, it's using this observable, flat mapping it to a new observable, which is like on logout I need to get a signal back from that logout function. So you get that over here, and then you can now make a call to the router to route it back to your root. Router dot route to root. So this is not returning anything, so you can just map it. And now I can, do I have a private? I don't have anything, so I need a dispose bag. So for that I need to include, okay, it's already included, dispose bag. So I can just say as driver, just don't, if there is an error, do nothing, and drive dispose bag. That's done. So your flow from the profile screen is complete. So it's triggering a call to the use case to logout, which is actually clearing your credentials. Once that logout credentials, login credentials are cleared, you are just asking your profile screen to delegate some work to your root, saying route back. I need to, you do your work now. My job is done, route it back. So now Windows responsibility is to actually take you back to the logins page. So this flow is complete. But then it's now I need to include within builder, because it's expecting now a param which is like this closure on logout. I can just create that on logout over here. On logout as a param, I'm going to include @escaping, and then I can just pass it as a param over here. That's enough. So now the builder has a change. It always goes back to the root. So it all started from the tab bar. So now tab bar is the parent to your profile even. So tab bar is where you have added it. So now the profile has to tell the tab bar to tell its parent, which is the window. So I can maybe include on logout within the tab bar itself. Logout @escaping. Again, it's the same closure all over. Then it's just propagated from one to the other. Here one param I need. Include that. That's just job is done. So now there is a change which is triggered over the window side where you are creating the tab bar. Go to the router of the window, modify this. Tab bar is now having a param called on logout @escaping. That's enough. That's done. So it's asking for a missing things. This is where things are getting a little trickier, because I have so many closures over here. There is one for sign up, there is one for login where two things are happening. It can go to either chat rooms or it can go to the sign up. There is a landing page which always takes you to the login landing to the login. That is also happening. So there are so many closures, it makes it a little confusing. So I felt let's refactor it over here, because ideally what right now it needs to happen is it needs to go to the login page, but then route to login. If I am just calling over here, let's say week self, I guess this should do it right now. Let's check, because from the chat room tab bar I'm just saying once that work is complete, route to login. So let's run, see. But still I want to show you a different way of rearranging the code. So wishmail.com wish 123 logged in. So I can just say log out. It goes back to the login screen now. It works perfect fine. So this logout feature as such is complete right now.